And welcome back, everybody. Welcome to DreamHack Masters Atlanta 2022 Oceania and rest of Asia closed qualifier. I'm, of course, your host, Live VIP, and with me is the one, the only, the casting cat himself. Welcome, AsherBro.
Meow. Is that a dab?
No, this is my body trying to go back down.
I need to be horizontal.
Yes, it wants to be horizontal, but I am vertical, mate. And speaking of vertical, that is the direction that these players are going because, mate, we're in the closed qualifiers.
That's right, we are in the business end of these games. We're in the meat and potatoes, and we are going to be hopping into our first game right away.
Oh, exactly. We have our first series here. The lobbies have been made. Let's go.
Let's go.
And yeah, we have so many good series going on right now. I apologize because I do see some of the juggernauts in the chat, the Mega. I also see Calibre as well. A lot of people in the chat here that are going to be shooting for Ender, and I hope we manage to catch the Ender later on in the bracket. We have decided to try and follow. Oh, as we get in the lobby ready.
I'm coming.
We have decided that we are going to be following Ryan and Piglet.
Ryan. Yeah, we do have this match. I gotta say, this is probably one of the matches I was most excited about because there's a lot of questions here. But there's questions in terms of form because Ryan has been practicing a lot with his Zerg. And as always, we don't really have a clue where Piglet's been, how much he's been practicing, what kind of level he's at. It's always a pleasant surprise just to see what Piglet is going to be showing up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't really know what form he will come in. Again, it's one of those things that, to be fair, like, Piglet is kind of like Seether in that he doesn't necessarily need to practice. He's amazing at just, like, Terrans, right?
Copium.
Copium. No, but yeah, like, he can, like, practice, like, and then, like, he can retain that skill for, like, 6 months, you know? Like, it's an interesting thing that he can accomplish. So yeah, I'm curious to see where he is. I have heard that he's been laddering a little bit, but not too much. Like, on the flip side of things, NXZ has been grinding a lot.
I think he's been on holiday in Europe.
Yeah, that is true.
Isn't he away for like 3 months?
Maybe.
He's living his life, mate. I think with Terran, the more important skill is not playing the game. It's having a good attitude because Terran, breaks you down.
True.
Meanwhile, not playing Terran, but in fact playing Zerg here in the top right. It is the Australian playing out of Singapore. It is NXZ.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Waterfall, we have the Australian Terran player himself representing Team Opposite. It is Piglet. Oh boy.
Yes, this is our ANZ champ, Piglet.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see. Oh, true. He is the defending champion of ANZ champs. He's the 2 season in a row champion at that.
Yeah, this is a player that, kind of disappears from the scene for a little while between these tournaments and just comes back and somehow seems to be better every time he returns and just wrecks house. So going to be very interesting to see what kind of form he is in today, because if he is in his top form, he's a serious contender to take this tournament down.
Yeah, there's just okay. So there's a lot that's coming into this game. There's so much. For those who maybe are newer viewers to the channel and don't know what ANZ Champs is a regional Australian and New Zealand tournament that we have been running for a couple of years now. And I say we, I mean ESL have been gracious enough to run it, and it's been a lot of fun. And the last 2 iterations of ANZ Champs, Piglet has been a back-to-back champion. I think, especially after winning that second time, he has solidified himself as the new best player in Australia. For a long time, that was Probe. and I don't think it was ever disputed. You know, Probe and Caesar are at the top of things, but like as time has gone on, as eras change, as generations rise and fall, like I think Piglet did accomplish that.
Yeah, I think so too. He did show he was able to beat out Probe as well to get that victory. So a bit of a changing of the guard there. But meanwhile, we do have things developing on pretty standardly for both players. We're seeing Ryan just going for a very NXZ, going for a very standard build, just pulling off gas here on time. Is going to have that one drone harass, but manages to save that as well. And Piglet on his side, old habits die hard. He is still going for this old school gas first opening.
Exactly, we're getting to our 1-1-1, no third CC before starport here from Piglet. So again, everything kind of relatively, like nothing really that strikes too out of the norm. Hatching a spool from Ryan, and like as we kind of establish like where like Piglet's history, I guess, and how much he's grown as a player and as a competitor. On the flip side of things, NXZ recently coming back to the game hasn't really had an opportunity to face off current form Piglet. Likewise, over the course of the qualifiers, NXZ was also really cheesy. Both against Protoss and against Zerg, like he is very timing oriented. We didn't really get a chance to cast his versus Terran though.
Yeah, I will say, having watched a lot of his ladder, it is mostly just versus Protoss and Zerg that he is so cheesy. I think versus Terran is a bit more comfortable going for a more standard game, but meanwhile from Piglet we do see he does have these Hellions very early as afforded by that gas first opening, and the other thing that's afforded by the gas first opening with the extra gas that you have, of course, is a faster transition into your tech, and the tech is going to be a fusion core.
Ooh.
We're going to see BCs on this tiny map.
We're gonna see range lived. Let's go. That's oh my god. But yeah, we do have that fusion core opener. It all makes sense. As a reminder, for a very long time, Piglet was a mech enjoyer in ZVT. For a very long time, we were talking about how old habits die hard. He did eventually whip out Bio, and he was actually looking really impressive with that as well against some of the other Zerg players in ANZ Champs. But for a long time, he was that mech boy, and this does kind of lend towards that style, as an Overlord is going to be dipping in and confirming the production.
Yeah, great timing on the scout here, but not really going to be able to see anything too out of the ordinary here. Does notice that the Tech Lab is not researching Piglet, not opting to fake that one out, but yeah, interesting build coming out here from Piglet. I did notice as well, he did start up that Banshee at first before cancelling to make the BC, so some nice little extra measures in there just to make sure that he's safe against any Roach builds, but that isn't what NXZ will be doing here.
Yeah, exactly. The Reaper of Piglet finally just going down to get a full scout of the main base and of the natural. I believe did confirm that that additional gas was being taken as well, and even the Bailey Nest, so he should be feeling pretty comfortable to go into mech if that's what he so chooses. Meanwhile, Ryan should be getting ready. There we go. Spores are getting in position, and he already has plenty of queens to help deal with at least the first BC.
Yeah, and meanwhile, that Overlord, before it goes down, does get a scout of this fusion core. So Ryan will be aware, NXZ will be aware of what he's going up against, but that BC teleporting straight across does not have any time to react. Really nice target fire here by Piglet on these drones.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, 6-7 drones already going down. Can he get another? He can get 8, and the BC will be able to escape here with its life.
Yeah, that's right. And behind this as well, Piglet is going into mech. He threw down those extra 2 gases very quickly, throwing down his extra factories now as well, and continuing to go into BCs. So this is a pretty nice start for Piglet here. It's very important with these BCs that you keep up the momentum. It's really important not to lose any, and getting 8 drones is just the icing on the cake.
I wanted to wake up. I didn't want to go back to bed, and it is going to be mech once again. I was hoping maybe he would be trying out a different, more active bio style. And to be fair, Piglet does have a very unique style of mech, but so far, yeah, he's going to be able to get into his game, already chipping away at this 4th base, almost going to be able to get it. Can he get it? Can he force a cancel? Can he force it? Up!
Oh, yes, and he's going to get that cancel. NXZ doing a really good job just waiting till the last minute to cancel that, but that battlecruiser getting out on 10 HP. He is milking every last piece of value out of that.
Oh my god, and milk that battlecruiser he will. At the same time, we do have another BC headed across the map as well, and we do see a 5th base on the way here for NXZ, but just as he goes for it, the BC is here.
Yeah, that's right, and meanwhile we do have the Spire and the Roach coming down for NXZ, he will prepare for this mech, so it does seem like he's aware of how Piglet is going to be playing this one out. Meanwhile, just going up in that drone count as well, already up to 76 drones, and he probably has a bit more room to drone it further if he so chooses to.
Yeah, exactly. I guess the interesting thing here is that Piglet has been a little bit... Asher, can you calm down? Look, I'm doing my best, okay?
Right, go back to sleep. I got this one.
No. Hey, look, excuse me. It's fine. It's fine. What I was gonna say is that, despite the fact that Piglet, sure, he has been a little bit active with these BCs, both on the right and left-hand side of the map, he has been relatively passive with his Hellions. He hasn't tried to go for any kind of like try or double-pronged attack here. He hasn't tried to go into any kind of mineral lines or even dance with the creep tumors.
Yeah, rather interesting as well. He is actually just stopping on... Oh, he is actually going to 3 battle cruisers, but he's opted not to get to Yamato. I'm not sure if this is a mistake or he would just rather have the gas for these very early Thors that he's going into.
Yeah, I'm curious as well. I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt that it is intentional, but typically when you do invest into 3 BCs like this, you may as well get that Yamato. So an interesting choice here by Piglet. Maybe it's something that he will get later on, as he is already transitioning into these Thors as well. We don't really have too much scouting information from him, but reading the situation very well. I mean, NXZ, you were talking about it earlier, he did already go for that Spire, so Piglet getting ready for any kind of meter switch.
Yeah, he will be prepared for anything coming out of that Spire. NXZ didn't really overmake these Corruptors, actually going quite light on the Corruptor count, and this is going to be very nice considering that there's no Yamato, so he doesn't really need to overcommit as Piglet won't have the opportunity to be trading out. And considering that Piglet is just keeping his BCs at home at the moment, he does seem aware that he doesn't have Yamato.
Yeah, exactly. So it feels like NXZ has been able to read this correctly here with his Corruptor count. Meanwhile, we do see him moving out here with his Roach Ravager. Is going to be able to pile down one of these sensor towers, but not much else than that. Again, Piglet doing what he does best, just turtling up on these 3 bases. The Piglet of old, if you will. If you remember, he used to be just a wall going up against Miyamika, going up against Oreo, even going up against Ender, where he would just turtle up, defend, max out on 4 bases, and he would not move out until that happens, until he is maxed.
Mate, I'm inspired.
By what?
I'm gonna be playing mech on the ladder pub.
Oh no, Asher, please, puppy, Asher, please. We do see a little bit of a Roach run by here, but the tanks are already sieged up and in position. The Roaches do get pushed away. We do see that 4th base on the way here for Piglet as well. Will the BCs even teleporting over towards the right hand side?
Yeah, cheeky little teleport there. A little bit misplaced. Isn't going to be able to take down these Roaches, and that does give NXZ the signal that these BCs will be a little bit more vulnerable for the time being, but at the same time, he's just going to go straight into this Ravager Baneling composition, and I really like this approach of dealing with mech. So he's gone all the way up to 88 drones, and he's just going to be able to crash Baneling Ravager in over and over and over again, trade well, try to take out some of these bases.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how well he can trade. Obviously, a very efficient army. He's going to be going in for a full surround. There's nowhere for these Hellions to go. The Link Bait, it comes in from both left and right.
Yeah, nice targeting with these Hellions. He's going to be able to take down a lot of these Banelings, but this really isn't a big deal for NXZ. He just needs to trade and trade and trade with this superior economy, but a lot of the army of NXZ going down all at once here.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised here at how many tanks survived that on the low ground. It was really impressive. The Banelings not really getting the best connections possible. They did connect with some of those Hellions, and they did kill some tanks. Looking at the units lost tab, 1 tank went down and 1 Thor.
Yeah, so preserves most of those tech units. Meanwhile, NXZ remaxing on these Lings is going to come straight in to take out this PF, but the PF already established here, and that will turn him back here.
Yeah, again.
I call him Ryan. I feel like that's confusing. Just automatic.
I know, puppy. I know. I do the same with Vindicta sometimes. Shaking my head. Oh god. But yeah, honestly, that wasn't really the best trade there for NXZ. I mean, again, because so many tanks survived earlier on, and there we go, they are finally being repaired. He had a really hard time breaking on through, but he hasn't finished teching, as he does now have his Hive. Greater Spires on the way, Adrenal Glands are on the way as well, so he can transition into Broodlords if that Thor count is looking a little bit low.
Yeah, that's right. He does always have the opportunity to do that if the tank investment is a little bit too heavy, and there are a lot of tanks coming out here, but we now see Piglet switching back into Thor. And I do want to point out as well, mech, a lot of what comes down with mech is your experience. A lot of people who play mech very often they have a lot of experiences in all these different weird situations that you find yourself in with mech games. As I say that, we do have a small attack coming in from Ryan here.
Yeah, we do have that small attack. It looks like he will get 2 tank storage shovels for Lings and a handful of roaches. Not bad at all. It looks like he was clearing up some supply because there we go. 12 brood lords are on the way. Look at the unit, sorry, at the upgrades. We actually don't really have very many flyer upgrades for those brood lords, so not the most upgraded ones. But regardless, he does have that transition coming. Unfortunately, again, we do have nothing but Thors on the way.
Yeah, that's right, and I do worry for him a little bit here because going into such a high-tech army when you are on such a high drone count at the same time doesn't leave much room for error, so he's going to have to be very careful with these broodlords.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. The broodlords are going to reveal themselves. Immediately, Piglet is going to unsiege and back the hell up. The Ling Roach is going to try and meet up with this, but again, not a lot of supply on the ground, so it looks like the army is going to be able to turn back and run. Meanwhile, the rest of the Thors are coming in.
Yeah, the Thors are going to be able to spread out. They will be looking to get a nice concave on these broodlords. The Vikings are here as well, but the Queens are here to support, and the creep is up far enough that he can transfuse all of these broodlords. A lot of Thors going down, all the tanks going down as well.
Yeah, exactly. The transfuses were on point despite the target fire. It looks like the broodlords are going to be able to break on through. This 4th base has been broken. Not just the 4th, maybe even the 3rd. We do have a couple of reinforcing Thors coming in, but again, we still have plenty of energy for transfuse.
Yeah, that's right. The momentum is completely on the side of NXZ, and it's really important for these Thors to start getting on top of the broodlords. The broodlords are starting to go down.
Oh, they are, but there's still plenty of broodlords and only a single floor remaining. The base does fall, and again, Piglet has been broken. That was his entire army spent in that defense. He did have a little bit too much in that tank count. He didn't switch back fast enough into those Thors, and even the 3rd is falling.
Yeah, that's right. His supply is absolutely plummeting, and NXZ has remaxed on roaches and lings with this superior economy. It's going to be very hard for a high Thor count to deal with that army.
Oh god, it really is. I mean, NXZ, you could argue, is he going to be overextending here? I mean, he won't have the ability to transfuse any longer with these queens off of creep, and they are running out of these broodlords. But here we go, the ling roaches coming in.
Yeah, these lings are going to get right on top of these tanks, focusing down those hellbats as well with the broodlings. There's only one hellbat left, and these Thors, they are going to be fodder for these roaches, and GG is called.
GG. NXZ on Waterfall, to be fair, one of the smaller maps, is able to take down Piglet.
Yeah, he's going to be able to take him down, and I do want to say that that's a good point that you make, that Waterfall is such a small map, and it's such a small map in area, so it can be really difficult to make a composition like mech work. I thought it was a bit of a curious choice to go for mech on Waterfall against Zerg, but he did have a pretty good start there.
Yeah, the start wasn't bad, but I think we both agree that because it's so small, you have very little time to react once you do kind of catch wind of something. And something very important that happened was that NXZ, he was able to transition, get an army of a very large broodlord count, and it wasn't revealed until he was basically at that 4th base, at that 5th base of Piglet.
Yeah, those broodlords can get across the map so quickly, and all the bases so close to each other. It means that that broodlord count, even if the Thors do eventually come out that can deal with it, you have so little time to react before your buildings are going down, your tanks are going down, and everything happened all at once there for NXZ. So he will take the 1-0 lead, and it'll be curious to see if Piglet wants to switch things up a little bit, because NXZ shows he has a very solid response to mech here.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things where it's possible that this is maybe also showing Piglet's inexperience. The map pool is relatively new, and this is the first time in a long time, or first time, where the map pool was completely reset. 7 brand new maps. And Piglet isn't the most active player. You were talking about how he was, traveling in Europe. I think it was in Germany at the time or something. I don't know, but he couldn't play in the Home Story Cup qualifiers because of this. I recall that at least. I think the TSL ones as well. And yeah, like if he hasn't been laddering too much, if he's not too familiar with some of these maps, then he may not know which one is good for mech, which one not so much.
Yeah, absolutely. But the one thing that I can say about mech is you can play some of these older styles, and really when it comes down to mech, not too much changes. When we see pro players break out mech, they're usually breaking out some pretty old builds, and Those builds, they still have the potential to work, especially if you catch your opponent off guard and you get a bit of momentum going forward with the opener. And now that we're going on to Data C, I want to say this is a much, much better map for Mac.
100%, 100%. Like, Piglet couldn't try and play the exact same style and find so much more success here. The defensive position is so much greater. The rushes between bases is so much greater as well, even with the rocks going down. We even have things like Zonagas that can be taken control of to be able to keep an eye on things like the Corruptor count, like the Broodlord count. So I do agree. I wouldn't mind seeing Meg again.
Yeah, and in general, this is a better map for BCs because you have more of that dead space behind the bases, which is really important for BC openers. You can be a lot more annoying that way, and you force the Corruptors a lot earlier. And it also gives you a lot more room to be safe from counterattacks. But here we are. We are spawning in on Data under the Sea. It is our Australian Zerg up in the top right, in the blue. It is NXZ.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Data Under the Sea, we have the Australian Terran player himself representing OPSV. It is Piglet.
And once again, we do see him going for the gas first. I don't want to call him out too much, but I do remember him having a conversation with Vindicta on Vindicta's stream about gas first in TvT. And Vindicta kind of explained to him that no one really does it anymore. And he was like, oh yeah, okay. And Vindicta explained the reasons. He's like, yeah, that makes sense. And then the next tournament I saw him in, he just did it again.
Look, you know, it works for Piglet sometimes, okay? And it may not be the most efficient opener, but you know, it's Piglet.
Yeah, and I have a lot of respect for players who just stick to their guns with these sort of things. We do see a lot of stylistic players, especially in the C region, who do things a little bit different. You might have EU players looking at it and say, yep, this is all wrong, this doesn't work, and then they just win it anyway. And I think there's a lot to be said for playing within your comfort zone.
Exactly. Oh boy. But at the same time, NXZ actually looking really good there in that first game. Piglet is notorious for his mech, so NXZ is fully aware of that. He was watching ANZ Champs back those couple of seasons as well. He was interested in keeping up with the scene. So yeah, great response already. We'll see if he can keep it up and do it again. Under the Sea.
Yeah, that's right. So he does have another chance here. He is skipping the scout as well, so going a little bit greedy on this one. We'll be sending that Reaper straight across and making a few extra Marines just to be extra safe here.
Yeah, he will. A couple of Marines will be on the way. Meanwhile, we do see the Reaper headed across the map as well. NXZ is going to be able to get his third base on location on time. So everything here from our Zerg player at least is looking pretty normal.
Yeah, that's right. Everything looking very normal. I think he will be confident, judging from that last game, just to play a more defensive opener and respond to whatever Piglet is doing. We do see that drone won't be going down. One thing I do want to point out as well is I do believe, yeah, this time we are on Australia server. Last time we were on Singapore server, which is NXZ's home server.
True. Do you think as the Reaper does get into the main base and does end up getting one of those drones? Oh my god, the ping advantage, puppy. I have to wonder, do you think Piglet would have played mech anyway, or is it one of those things where, hey, I'm playing on ping, may as well?
No, I think he 100% would have played mech anyway. It's Piglet, he loves his mech.
Okay,
but meanwhile, we are seeing a little bit of a different opener. This is, again, something that really these days I only see Piglet do this. I think he's going for a Cyclone drop here, and it's a really interesting opener. It affords you a lot of map control against the Zerg here, and you can just be out on the map trying to clean up some of these overlords. Yeah, there we go. We do see that medevac coming up, and this is something that I saw him try a couple times. There was a stream that Pig had where Piglet was playing on his computer. We got to see him from the first person, and I saw him do this opening, and I don't think this is a particularly good opening, but man, he makes it look good.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where kind of Miyamaka-esque in a way where he can do something that may not make the most sense or may not be currently meta, but because he does it so often, because he's so familiar with it, he can still make it work anyway, as we still have a Fusion Core follow-up behind this, as we are still going to be going into those BCs.
Yeah, that's right. He is once again going into the BCs. Once again as well, going for that Banshee just for extra safety.
Yeah, it is going to be on the way just in case there is going to be a bit of an earlier Roach rush. NXZ already going for his own Roach Horn, and Roaches are going to be on the way here for NXZ.
Yeah, that's right. He will be. So we do have this. Fusion Core finishing up now, and meanwhile the Queen's just getting a little bit of a catch there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little bit worried here because, again, this third base is not being saturated at all. Roaches are rushing across the map, and we do see a cancel on that Banshee. Unfortunately, this drop has not spotted the move out.
Oh. Yeah, this drop is being very annoying, but there we go. We will get the first sighting on the Roach, and does look like he will be forced to react here. I will say, though, with this BC on the way, this does mean that once Piglet gets his BC up, he will be safe, but looks like he's not really responding too heavily just yet to these Roaches.
Yeah, like he did catch one Roach coming out of the main base, but I guess he didn't. Well, he was unable to piece 2 and 2 together. The Roaches are already here. There is no reaction. There is no bunker. There is nothing. Only Hellions and boys to defend.
Yeah, that's right. He was pulling and evacuating his natural at first, but instead he will be pulling the boys to try to catch out these Roaches. Nice morph on those Ravages there will save those low health Roaches, actually cancelling it. Very nice move, sir.
Yeah, the cancel just so the Lynx can all flood on in. Meanwhile, the Cyclone does end up turning around, but so many workers are falling. Eventually, this will be cleaned up by that BC, but the damage has been done.
Yeah, that's right. And with that third CC only just coming out now, not a 3 CC opener, these SCV losses do matter.
Yeah, exactly. 16 SCVs already going down and counting because Lings get into the main base as well. The wall was not a wall, and oh boy, oh my god, they almost get the Cyclone.
Yeah, some nice defensive micro here from Piglet, just blocking out those Lings at the wall, at the gap between the minerals. But meanwhile, this BC is starting to clean up the front of NXZ's attack as well.
Exactly, there we go. And as soon as that is done, it is going to teleport across the map. The Spore is not done, by the way. So maybe NXZ being a little bit greedy here. The Queens are in position, though they can chase down this BC as the BC attempts to chase down the drones.
Yeah, the Queens are in position, but he will be denying a lot of the mining here at the third. He is continuing to make BCs here. This time he is going for that, I didn't know it was called weapon refit. Going for the Yamato cannon here.
It's not called Yamato?
I guess the upgrade's not called Yamato, it's just Yamato once they have it.
Oh my god. StarCraft, please. What's going on?
Mind blown.
Oh my god. Hey, we learn something new every day, okay? So
yeah, meanwhile, I think he's going for a 4th CC already. He's crazy.
Oh my god, he's crazy. I mean, yo, props to Piglet because, again, he did sustain a lot of economic damage, so he has to catch up, right? He has to catch up as fast as possible. He is going to be landing his 3rd CC on location. At the same time, that one BC from earlier is going to be able to dip back in and is going to be able to take down a couple more of these drones.
Yeah, that's right. And while I was saying this is a little bit greedy, he's also recognizing the situation really well. He realizes that after this all-in, for NXZ to have so many units, so many drones, sorry, at his 3rd, it means that he has been skipping on these units. So he will be safe for the moment to just go straight into that 4CC, and that'll be his way of getting himself back into this game.
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, he was also trying to go for a little bit of a Hellion drop into the main base. Unfortunately, NXZ, despite not seeing the drop coming, was already in position with a handful of his Queens, maybe anticipating another BC rocking up, so he was able to deflect those Hellions.
Yeah, that's right. But the name of the game here for Piglet is just to keep NXZ busy on his side of the map so that he can get away with this greed that he's going for at the moment. He does have a few tanks coming out as well, so he will be prepared for any response with Roaches and throwing down some turrets in his main mineral lands as well.
Yeah, turrets are already going down. I don't believe he was able to scout this, but again, is anticipating this a similar style of NXZ from the past. Of course, BCs do usually force a Spire response, as the rest of the factories are on the way. Blue Flame as well, and that 4th is now an orbital. It's ready, mate. Let's go.
We do have that orbital ready to go, and that will be accruing value quite quickly as we go. It does look like this Changeling is going to get in, so he's going to be able to keep an eye on when this 4th is being taken.
Yeah, exactly. Nice scouting here by NXZ. He also goes all the way into the main base with his Overseer. He also confirms with his eyes that there is indeed a 4th CC. Knows about the greed of Piglet, but at the moment can't really do anything quite about it, as NXZ is still trying to drone up here on his 4 bases, trying to get this 5th up and running.
Yeah, similarly to the previous game, just getting all those drones up, getting his economy up and running. Meanwhile, the Blue Flame is revealed at the front, and just going to be a little bit of aggression here from Piglet.
How much?
Oh my goodness. It's on 4 health.
4 HP, puppy. There's nothing. It's empty, puppy. There's nothing there. Yeah. It's a very impressive here. Piglet barely able to escape once again on his home server with as little ping as possible. Is able to make use of that. Meanwhile, at the same time, Hellion going to be applying a little bit of pressure here towards that 5th base. We do have another Hellion drop headed towards the natural.
Yeah, that's right. These roaches are in position, but meanwhile, Piglet just being so annoying with the multitask with these Hellion drops. We'll be able to line up these drones, and down they go. That's 4, 6 going down already, just lining them up and roasting.
Oh my god, exactly. 7 drones go down, and he's not done. He is committed. He's going to go into that 3rd hatchery as well, and 10 drones have gone down.
Yeah, for such a small commitment of Hellions, getting those in there, getting 10 drones down, that is a lot of damage. But meanwhile, we do see NXZ is starting to assemble the pieces of an attack here. He does have a few Corruptors looking for this low health battle cruiser, and he's got his roaches ready. But meanwhile, on the side of Piglet, he has a considerable force of tanks here prepared, and we can see some of the features of this map defensively. It's going to be so hard to push up a ramp into that giant amount of tanks.
Exactly. There's a reason why we were both saying how Mech would accomplish so much more on a map like DayToC, and NXZ did a great job at crippling the economy of Piglet early on, but is that even going to be enough to make up for the defensive position here? Because we do see that the army has been spotted, roaches have been seen, and another Hellion run by is hitting this 4th base.
Yeah, great scan there, and it looks like Piglet is getting more into his rhythm with this mech. He is starting to pull off some of the moves we normally see him doing. We do see 6 drones going down. More importantly, it brings back the army of NXZ here, does delay his push, and gives Piglet some more time to prepare. We do see as well Piglet being very greedy here, just has his tanks here to defend, and he's going for more and more CCs, already up to 6 CCs.
Yeah, I saw these 2 CCs being built. I was like, Jesus Christ. He doesn't even have his 4th landed on his location, puppy. He's just working on more bases, and this will help when it comes to the surface area, when it comes to taking bases, period, when it comes to morphing in these planetaries. But the Roach Ravager is finally here.
Yeah, the Roach Ravager arrives. These biles will be able to zone out, so he will be able to take out all these turrets that were being prepared. We'll be able to halt the plans of Piglet to take this 4th, just for the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, a really wise choice for Piglet actually not to transition into Thors yet. He has so many tanks, recognizing that something like a Greater Spire, something like a Hive isn't going to be coming out here for NXZ. He was trying to hit a timing a little bit earlier instead, as NXZ pokes and prods and tries to find another way up this ramp.
Yeah, but these tanks, this is an unstoppable wall. We do have the Yamato as well, taking out some of these Corruptors, so he will be able to start to get that little Corruptor tax as those BCs pop in, and they'll be able to take out a few each time. Meanwhile, nice scan here, does see the Hive starting up.
Yeah, as soon as he sees the Hive, Thors are on the way, mate. This time, he doesn't want only just 2 Thors on the front lines when Broodlords pop up, so he has plenty of time to respond to that tech switch.
Yeah, and in this previous game as well, Ryan was able to trade out with the Banelings, with the Ravagers, and keep the tank count of Piglet low. But this time, Piglet has managed to preserve almost all his units, and this is NXZ losing a lot of these units for free here.
Yeah, exactly. Piglet doing what he does best, just hurling up as hard as he can, even trying to land a 5th on location at the same time, gets off another Yamato. Oh, and NXZ, he's once again just trying to hold on, trying to rebuild, and that Greater Spire is still nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, that's right. This Roach Ravager Corruptor Force was designed to do damage. This is a very aggressive way to try to deal with mech, but yeah, on this map as well, it can be really hard to break up with your roaches. These bases are so defensible, and we see Piglet has such a huge amount of tanks. He might even be able to start to think about a push across the map here.
Yeah, exactly. He is about to max out, mate. And if he can hit a timing before the Greater Spire finishes, before the Broodlords can be morphed in, all these tanks are going to be so effective here in that siege. So right now, NXZ has to do everything he can to keep that army back at home.
Yeah, that's right. Nice rotation here from NXZ. He is going to be able to start to trade out some of these roaches as well. Nice little blinks there on the BCs will avoid the damage from the Corruptors. But meanwhile, NXZ taking out a couple of tanks over here at the 3rd.
Exactly. He's taking down some tanks. He's also forcing the tanks to come back home, to come all the way back to this 3rd base location. It will cost him all these roaches and ravagers, but again, just buying time for more lanes, for his upgrades, for that Greater Spire, which will finish up in a couple of seconds.
Meanwhile, we see 5 Thors coming out at a time for Piglet. We see 2 more CCs being finished as well. So This is a pretty crazy play that he's going for. He has so many orbitals, so that means he really doesn't have to be that high in the SCV count. We can see he only has 60 SCVs and he is not remaking them. So he has a giant mech army here. And he's going to be able to push through and keep his economy going just with mules.
Oh, exactly. But you know what? The army's a little bit out of position. We do see NXZ head towards the bottom right-hand corner. He's going to be able to catch 4 of these tanks for free. At the same time, there is no census out here. The 5th base is going to be forfeit. And Piglet doesn't turn around. He keeps on pushing. He wants to get on top of the Broodlords.
Yeah, he gets on top of these Broodlords. These Broodlords are not going to be able to morph in, and these tanks, if they can get in position here, NXZ is going to have very little options with what to deal with this, but he does have 1 Viper, and these tanks are really bunched up, so a Blinding Cloud could do some serious work here if Piglet is not able to Yamato the Viper first.
Yeah, exactly, but actually Piglet will back off. He did see the morphing in Broodlords earlier, so he's fully aware that the Broodlords are going to be made eventually. There is that Blinding Cloud that you were talking about, but there's just not enough on the ground. Link Bane doesn't even have bathing speed.
Yes, angle just not that good for NXZ despite the Blinding Cloud, and all of these roaches getting absolutely minced by the Thors as the 2-2 of Piglet finishes up.
Oh my god, the Corruptors as well all go down. We see a scan, the Broodlords have finally been morphed in, but we lost a lot of the anti-air, and now the BCs are coming in.
Yeah, that's right, and we have 6 Thors here for Piglet. He's going to be able to take on these Broodlords head on. Gets the vision here from the BCs. The BCs even fighting the Broodlords, and all of them are going down. GG is called Piglet, putting one back on the board.
GG. Piglet, he was so on point when it came to his overall strategy this game, you know, just turtling up as hard as possible, but also doing a great job at scouting his opponent, at harassing his opponent at the same time, and getting an eye on what the tech was, what the army composition was as well of NXZ. Oh.
Yeah, that's right. So we are 1-1 here going into the next match. I do believe this is a best of 3. Yes, a best of 3. So it will be coming down to this match. We just saw 2 very different maps and very different matches, and I have to wonder how much the maps played into that.
Yeah, I have to wonder as well, especially when it comes to what the 3rd map is going to be. But just before we get into that, though, I also want to give a massive shout out to Tonasu in our chat, the lovely ESL admin. He's actually giving us some live updates as we speak.
Yeah, so we do have those live score updates coming through from the wonderful Tonasu, and it looks like Risky has managed to take out Raza in their game 2-1, and Ender just edging out that game versus Azure with a 2-1 score as well. So they will be progressing to their qualifying matches.
Oh my god. Wow, I'm honestly really impressed. Some unexpected results here. Mate, the Zergs, they're surviving. They're doing it.
Yeah, that's not surprising. Qualifying matches, that is one step closer, you know, sort of the grand final of this tournament, so to speak. And wait, that's where Zergs belong.
Yeah, you're right. Like, it's beautiful. I agree. Oh god, but no, yeah, I'm honestly really surprised because Risky in a way is also a bit of an enigma. More often than not, we don't know how in form he is. We don't know how much he's practicing, how much he's playing, and for him to take down Raza, I would call that an upset.
Yeah, Raza has been playing on the EU ladder for sure lately. He has been able to get quite a few games in and has been performing pretty strongly, so definitely one to look out for in the lower bracket as well. But Risky showing that he's still in pretty good form if he's able to take down Raza, and he will be awaiting the winner of this series.
Oh yes, he will. And which player will that be? We've yet to find out as we are going into our ace match.
Ace match.
You okay? Oh boy. Oh god. All right. Here we go. Man, I my brain is still waking up here.
That's all right. You won't need it.
Oh my
You're just going to be casting ZBZs. You don't need a brain for that. It's all good.
God, let's hope. Let's... But yeah, we actually have our map choice as well. It is going to be on inside and out.
Yeah, that's right. We will have inside and out. And I got to say, if I was going to pick any map on the pool to play mech on, I think this would be it. So in the top right hand corner here, with his work really cut out for him to try to get into this qualifying match, it is the Australian Zerg. In the blue, it is NXZ.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Inside and Out, we have the Australian Terran player himself, the ANZ champion representing Opus V. It is Piglet.
All right, so we are seeing that gas burst once again. I'm pretty sure that's just how he opens, but we'll have to see if we're going to be able to see that, if we're going to be seeing that Cyclone drop opening again. And for NXZ as well, I'm wondering if he's going to go for that Roach all-in once again, because it didn't go too badly for him. It was more what happened after that was a bit rough. Piglet was defending that pretty well, but he has shown time and time again he is still willing to go for these more greedy BC openings.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it was just difficult for NXZ to, either difficult or he just chose not to try and get a full-up scout and figure out what exactly Piglet was doing to get back into this game, and if he had recognized how greedy he was being, maybe NXZ could have been a little bit more aggressive afterwards for a bit of a follow-up push instead of just backing off and droning up from there.
Yeah, that's right, and he does still have quite a few options for how he wants to approach this one. He is going to be opening once again with that hatch first, so nothing too crazy to start off with. A lot of respect for Piglet as a defensive player.
Yeah, hatch, gas pool. Also, I think we would maybe agree that any kind of roach-based push will maybe have a little bit more success on a map like Inside and Out compared to DayToC. So maybe he could find more success with that here. At the same time, doing something like that 2 games in a row, I don't know if that's the wisest of choices here against Piglet.
Yeah, I will say that Piglet, he has been preparing with that Banshee for a roach push most of the time, and he did completely miss the scout until it was arriving at his doorstep. So it was best case scenario for NXZ. If things were a little bit different, we might have been able to see Piglet get that Banshee out and defend it a bit more easily.
Yeah, it's very possible that the next time if he does open up with that Cyclone Scout, as you see the Hellions almost trap that Reaper in the end, but if he does go for that Hellion drop, it's possible that instead of going straight into the main base, he may just go towards the third so we can get a better eye on the saturation as a bit of a better tell as to what NXZ is up to if the tech is missed.
Yeah, that's right. We are on Singapore once again, so I will point out that the ping advantage this time is on Ryan's side as he gets that timber down. But meanwhile, we see Piglet ducking into the main, is going to be double checking for any Roach Warren play, but it doesn't look like NXZ will be going for anything like that this time.
Yeah, exactly. So far, the Roach Warren, if there is one, has been hidden insanely well. So Piglet just making sure that that is the case. There it is. Roach Warren is thrown down behind the natural as soon as the Reaper leaves.
Yeah, there it goes. The Roach Warren down in the natural, and Piglet is going to have no idea of this, and he is going for the exact same opening once again with that fast fusion core.
Yeah, Fusion Core is going to be on the way. I imagine we're going to be seeing a Banshee soon, TM, once we get that Tech Lab on it. Still not there yet. Meanwhile, the Reaper, there's still a chance for it to be able to slip on by and get into that natural base. There is still no link speed. There is still an opportunity for Piglet.
Yeah, Piglet going for this Viking at this time. He has been scouted at the same timing most of these last games, so I think he just wants to mix things up, wants to take out this Overlord before he can duck in and see exactly what he's doing, playing some light mind games here. But meanwhile, for NXZ, it looks like he was pretty happy with how that Roach Rush went in this last game, and he is going to be going for that once again.
Yeah, here we go. Roaches are on the way. Zero Jones here at the third. Very little saturation at his natural as well. But the Hellions are looking to dive on in. Or even if they don't dive in, if they are able to stay here outside the natural base, they will spot those Roaches as they pop out.
Yeah, the Hellions just poking the front here. It's going to be important for NXZ here to hide these Roaches, but it looks like he's going to be sending them straight across. I don't think Piglet caught eyes on that one as the Queens are zoning out these Hellions.
Once again, for the second time, the Hellions, they barely catch the wind of one Roach, and I don't know if Piglet really saw that because we still have that BC on the way. We still don't really have any kind of major reaction here. Finally, he has confirmation. Roaches are coming.
Yeah, he spots the Roaches. Meanwhile, for NXZ, he is going for a little bit of a different follow-up here, going for a fast lair. I'm not sure if that's what he went for in the first game. For Piglet, we are seeing him fully evacuate the natural this time. Once again, going to take the fight on the ramp here, and we are going to begin to see these SCBs going down.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen this before. We're going to see it again as the Roaches do break on in. I love it. We do have a Ravager being morphed on top of that depot, so it cannot be raised. The wall can never be a wall.
Yeah, that's right. And this BC is a little bit later this time. Things are looking pretty dire for Piglet. A lot of these SCBs going down right away. This Viking is going to have to put in some serious work here as he runs away these SCBs.
Yeah, exactly. Eventually the VC will pop out and will clean everything up, but as you were saying, it just took so long for that to happen because of the initial Viking as well, and we are down to 28 workers. Oh.
Yeah, the supplies are telling a story here. He does manage to trap these roaches in here, so he's going to be able to take them all down with the BC, not before they can take out this depot. Meanwhile, we do see the mining is continuing here for Piglet. He's going to be sending these SCVs back, just missing the repair on that depot.
Oh yeah, a little bit too slow there on the repairs. The depot does go down, and I'm curious to see what happens with this faster lair. We do have only 2 gases. Okay, a 3rd gas is being taken. I wouldn't be opposed to a faster Spire, and there we go. Spire is thrown down.
Yeah, you do have that quick Spire on the way. Meanwhile, with that tech lab being taken out, that does delay the 2nd BC quite considerably. We are seeing the 3rd base only just going down now. So yeah, Piglet really up against it in this one.
Exactly. I'm just keeping my eye on the gases here because, again, because the tech lab was delayed for the 2nd BC, and we can see that there's only going to be 1 BC here for Piglet. Going into something like Mass Muta wouldn't be the worst idea here for NXZ, as he does take his 4th gas.
Yeah, we are seeing those extra gases going down. Meanwhile, the extra factories going down for Piglet. He is going to be able to get a little bit of scouting over across the map with this BC as he starts up his +1 armor. So I wonder, with that reactor starting on the starport, if we're going to see more of a Liberator-based style.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. As I love Piglet reading the situation. He goes straight into Thor's.
Yeah, this is going to be a Thor drop. So that reactor on that starport will be for medevacs, and it looks like he's going to be using a Thor drop. This is something, again, a stylistic move that he likes to use actually to harass. I'm not sure if it's 100% for mutas, maybe just being a little bit extra safe for that possibility as well. But he is going to be able to get some nice harassment done with that until he sees the mutas.
Yeah, but ¿por qué no los dos? You know, why not both? As we can see, it's not going to be for mutas. It is going to be for 5 corruptors in the end. But regardless, this Thor drop can find a lot of success.
Yeah, that's right. So another pretty old school style coming out from Piglet, but it can be very effective, especially at picking off queens, even putting some damage on bases, taking out overlords, anything like that, as we see him just skirmishing with the queens here with his BC.
Yeah, exactly. He did end up getting 1 queen, but only 1 queen for his troubles. There we go. The Thor drop is zooming out across the map. You say an old school style. True, but also, you know, maybe he's been watching some Quanta, I like to believe. Just let me dream, papi, let me dream.
Man, can we have the quad Thor drop? Could it be a reality? Ooh, as that BC goes down. But the corruptors are spotted, and that does mean that the Thor drop will be able to head home before it can be taken down.
Yeah, exactly. Piglet doesn't want to risk anything. He will back off for the time being, will be relatively safe here. At least has those swords, switching back into that tank production.
Yeah, meanwhile, if NXZ does want to go for this Corruptor Roach all-in that he was going for in the previous game, it is going to be much more effective this time. Look at the supply differential.
Yeah, exactly. Piglet still struggling to get the rest of his economy, the rest of his production up and running, but we see that he isn't being anywhere near as greedy as he was last time with a 4th CC, but NXZ, he's getting ready with his army.
Yes, it does seem a little bit wasteful to throw away these corruptors like this, but he does have room for it, and it does allow these roaches to sneak in unhindered, completely bypassing the tank setup of Piglet, and there's going to be a lot of SCVs going down all at once here.
Yeah, exactly. 10 SCVs already going down, and now he's breaking into the main base, bypassing all those sieged up tanks at the 3rd base, and they're only Thors.
Yeah, jumps straight on top of these Thors. Piglet going to go for a combat drop with these Hellbats, but he is not trying to save these Thors here. They are going to have to be used in the fighting. A lot of these roaches going down. This is some nice micro with the Hellbat drops to deal with them.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But you know what? Like, I don't know if the Hellbats are really going to be enough here as 12 more SCVs go down. The reinforcing roaches do catch the tanks on the low ground as well.
Yeah, that's right. They will be catching those tanks as a low ground. The 3rd has to be evacuated. The SCVs even being pulled to fight here. And the supply difference is massive. More than double the supply here for NXZ.
Oh god, exactly. And now NXZ, there's just nothing to stop him from going up into the main base once again. There are a lot of tanks, don't get us wrong. Only 2 of them are sieged up in position there. And again, NXZ, because of his economy, because of his position, he can just keep making more roaches.
Yeah, and Piglet will be looking to block these roaches out with the SCVs to try to protect the tanks. A lot of these roaches are going to go down, but 25 SCVs in total already going down. And this is just, this is something that NXZ can just do over and over again. It's just going to extend his lead And with all these SCVs going down, it's going to be very hard for Piglet to find a way back into this one.
Yeah, exactly. For the second game in a row, GG gets called. He missed the Roach push until it was already in his face. There was no Banshee, and NXZ will take the series.
Yeah, NXZ takes that one down, showing that he is more than capable of dealing with the mech style of Piglet, and catches him out, going for that same greedy opening 3 games in a row with that Roach all-in.
Yeah, exactly. I have to. As I look back on things again, I really do question Waterfall as a map pick. I have to really wonder what the game plan was for that, especially if Piglet was planning to play the same style of mech or a very similar style of mech every game. Outside of that, though, again, it was just a little bit unfortunate that he just happened to have missed the Roaches these 2 games in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting a little bit unlucky, but also good job by NXZ to use those queens just to zone out all of the vision until the last minute. So NXZ will be going ahead to face Risky in the qualifying best of 5.
Oh.